1993. It was a long, hot summer with a long, hot week of competition in Jackson, Mississippi. It was also a year in which developments in Somalia, which would later provide the true life story for the movie Black Hawk Down, would happen with tragic consequences for the U.S. military. Terrorists attempt to blow up the World Trade Center in New York City, unsuccessfully. A 51-day standoff in Waco, Texas, comes to a fiery end at the Branch Davidian compound. Dinosaurs ruled the box office. Jurassic Park, the blockbuster hit of the year. Seinfeld got the Emmy for Best Comedy. And we got wet. I mean, really wet for the first time in a finals competition that night in Jackson.
22 years without rain, and we suddenly get hit. You've got to remember, it was really hot all week. In fact, I thought we were going to do TV features on how hot it was.
Instead, the humidity came down out of the sky all at one time.
All at one time. All night long it rained, but it really poured on the Madison Scouts.
But it was a magic moment because the fans and the Scouts just bonded in the mud.
Well, there was an outpouring, you should excuse the expression, of faith and support for the Madison Scouts, and they really came through. It was an amazing moment that way. But it was a real story about the Cadets. They edged the Star of Indiana by a thin 1/10 of a point. The show is phenomenal, high energy, characteristic Cadets of Bergen County. But in this case, the story might be Star and that unusual show that they put on the field.
Medea, it was different, and it was not universally popular with the fans.
No, the fans thought that they were being left out of the mix, but in actuality, it was probably the next step in intellect and intelligence for drum corps. Star mounts this Medea production, and it includes substantial amounts of movement and expression and silence in a way we hadn't seen on the drum corps field before. Really interesting. Later, this is their last year, and they become Blast on Broadway. They take all these ideas and develop them into essentially a Broadway show. So it's a miracle in a way that we make that transition. My favorite show...
My favorite moment on the field, Phantom Regiment.
Yeah, the crab stepping wedge.
Yep.
This crab stepping wedge, they make a wedge, and then the whole thing crab steps. You've seen that step from drummers before, but in this case it's the horn players. And they slide across the field, suddenly turn a 360, and spread on out. Place goes pandemonium.
2 new faces in the top 12 this year.
Colts, which we haven't seen up in the 12 before, from Iowa. And then the Toledo Glassmen, and they're a corps to watch because they're starting their rise at this time. So 2 really interesting... Blue Devils, Scott Chandler's color guard's always interesting, but in this case they use weird props. Huge paintbrushes to kind of paint the portrait of Don Ellis.
1993, the action was in Jackson.